Hey guys, I want you all to please follow me on Twitter, subscribe to RATREET, and my friend Miniman123. RATREET is my best friend, to be honest. And also please join my Discord server. I really want to make it big. Thank you, and let's get into it. Welcome back, guys. This is the King of Weebs here. I am going to start a new What If series. I know people have done this before, but I really thought maybe I can do it myself, but in a different way. I haven't really watched theirs one because I don't want to take ideas from them. I want to do it on my own, and I hope it's different. I will be checking later, and mine was going to be a lot different. So this is what if Naruto left the village, and I thought of this for a long time. I always thought, what if Naruto just straight up left when he was like 6 or 7, maybe even 9? Because at 4 and 5 he didn't really hate the village, but then when you start getting older, you start realizing things that you went through, and you realize that you did this wrong, you did that right, and if you did that, you could have been this, or if you didn't do that, this wouldn't have happened. Like, I have these feelings every day. Like, when I was a kid, if I just studied a bit more now, I wouldn't be this stupid or whatever. And I've always thought of, what if Naruto just straight up just left, or imagine he killed himself? Because I couldn't imagine myself being in Naruto's shoes. If I was in Naruto, like, I would seriously consider suicide. I'm not saying suicide's good. It's bad. It's really bad. I hope nothing like this comes to your mind ever. But I thought to myself, what if Naruto just left? And this was bugging me for a while, because I really wanted to do this, but it's a really wide known it's widely suggested in Naruto fan bases, so I didn't really think that doing it would really change anything, would really make me unique. But I really like the idea. It really intrigues me, thinking of the idea if Naruto just left, and I want to know what would happen, even though I would never find out since the anime never did a filler of it. So I want to make my own story of it, and I hope you all understand. I'm not trying to copy anyone. It's just been in my mind for a while, and I hope you all enjoyed this new What If. I know I said I will be finishing What Ifs before I start new ones, but this has just got to me, and I want to the demand for the next few parts of the What Ifs that I've done in the past few days on that high. So I'm probably going to start making the next part of the What If with like goals. So all my next What Ifs have to get to at least 25-30 likes for the next part. This one's going to be lower because it is part 1, but I will be gradually increasing it. So for this one, I want 15 likes. I have hit all 400 subscribers. I'm really grateful for this. So you could consider this as a 400 subscriber special. I'm not considering it as one, but you guys could, because it is a really interesting scenario, and I hope I haven't been boring you guys. I will be putting a timestamp if you guys don't want to listen to all this, if I can remember this, if I can remember to put it. If not, I'm sorry, and if you got up to here, I'm really sorry, and if you listen to it, thank you. I hope you all will enjoy, and let's get into it. So, what if Naruto left the village part 1? We start the story back when. So, we start the story when Naruto is around 4 years old, and he is getting picked on by older kids, like 6 to 7 year olds, like 2-3 years older than him, and they're picking on him for not being for being an outsider, because everyone hated him and they bullied him a lot. And Naruto always smiled at them and he never really said anything bad to them. He always used to say, I'll become Hokage, I'll become Hokage, because Naruto's mindset was really the same until he became a bit older, and he never really thought that much of being bullied, because he knew bullying wasn't is something universal. Everyone, at least in your lifetime, he realizes that everyone must have at least seen people get bullied or get bullied themselves, or and he used to think that, and but he never really understood why everyone used to cast him cast him outside of every activity they do, or if he does anything with other kids, their parents come in and try to take them away from him, or if he tries to make a friend, either the parents tell him never be his friend or never talk to him, or either the kids already been told and they're like, get away from me, you're a monster. They tell him these things, and Naruto is really sad about this, and he realizes he's not, once he's getting older, gradually, year by year, he's 5 now, he's starting to get these feelings of these suicidal thoughts. He starts getting them, and he becomes really gloomy. His smile disappeared. He hasn't smiled in months, and people around the village have noticed that Naruto doesn't pull pranks, and every time he walks around, he looks at the ground, he looks down at his feet, and they realize that Naruto is changing, and they're happy about this because they think Naruto is now going to accept that he's a monster, and he's accepting that no one likes him. And they sometimes they laugh at Naruto. They say, haha, look at that kid, always walking, looking down, just like he. And then other people are like, yeah, he deserves that. He is a monster. He doesn't deserve to look up. He shouldn't be proud of himself. He should be disgusted by himself. But look at him, still alive. And people encourage him of suicidal thoughts. And Naruto did try suicide in multiple occasions. Let's say once he's like right before his birthday, he's like, I don't want to live this life anymore. It's not fair. Why just me? Why me? Just why? It's unfair. And he's on top of the roof of his building, and hold on, wait 1 second. So Naruto was on the rooftop of where he lived, and he wanted to jump and just let himself go, until an Anbu appeared out of nowhere with a mask and just saved Naruto and said, kid, never try that again, and disappeared out of nowhere. And this Anbu wasn't a root Anbu. He was one of the Hokage's personal Anbus. Yes, the Hokage, he even has noticed Naruto when looking down. Sorry, I read my script wrong. And he thought, why is Naruto so down? And he is seeing the sadness and sorrow in Naruto's eyes, and he realizes that Naruto is starting to feel empty inside, and he's not smiling like he used to. He's not shouting out that he's going to become the Hokage like he used to. Like when he was a kid, he used to do a lot of these things, and Naruto now is just sad all the times, and he doesn't go to the park anymore. He mostly spends his time in front of the river, the still river, and he just looks at the river flowing, and he doesn't see Naruto trying as hard. You know how Naruto used to train and the third Hokage used to come and see him. He doesn't see him there anymore. Naruto has completely given up, and he wants to know what Naruto's feeling, and he makes one of his Anbus take a look after Naruto, and the Anbu just saw Naruto trying to commit suicide and is really worried about him too, and he takes off his mask, and then it is revealed it was Kakashi, because Kakashi was acting like the Anbu for the Hokage until Naruto's year became 12, well, until Naruto's year would have graduated. So Kakashi is really worried that his own sensei's son is thinking of suicide and literally attempted suicide. And now he's there, and he knows, he thinks that Naruto wouldn't try that again, but he couldn't just leave him there, and sees Naruto walking up again, up to the roof and trying again. And Kakashi this time puts on his mask, and once he catches Naruto, he knocks him out, puts him to bed, and goes off. And he realizes that Naruto wouldn't be waking up until he's like, it's like morning. And he goes to the Hokage's office and says, Hokage, please send a different Anbu right now. It's Naruto. I've knocked him out and put him to bed. It's he is in grave danger. And Hiruzen is shocked because he thinks Naruto got attacked or something, or he tried to leave the village. And he sends a different Anbu there, a random Anbu. Well, one of his guards, Anbu, of course. The Anbu goes and is looking at Naruto's house. Naruto won't come out until it's morning, of course. And Kakashi starts explaining. Hiruzen says, take a seat. Kakashi got a chair, and he started explaining that he was watching Naruto for the past 2 weeks, from you told me. And today I've seen something that shook me to my core. Naruto was standing on top of the roof of his complex, and Hiruzen says that, and then Hiruzen had fear in his eyes because he could feel that Kakashi was about to tell him that what happened, and he already had something in mind about this. Then Kakashi, but he was hoping that it wouldn't happen. Then Kakashi is like, Naruto just tried to commit suicide not once but twice in the same day. The first time I just left him on the street after catching him, but then he went back up and he tried it again, and I had to knock him out because I knew he wouldn't stop until he achieved his goal. And Hiruzen's eyes widen to this, and in his mind is like, no, the worst has come. And he tells Kakashi that from now on you will be guarding Naruto. So Kakashi is ordered to look after Naruto. Naruto is now 6, because I did say that happened before his birthday. I know this is a more darker Naruto than any other Naruto what ifs, or because I want to start making a bit more darker what ifs, and this what if is pretty dark because it just breaks all morals and all human morals, to be honest. Like, a human shouldn't end his own life or her own life, their own life. They shouldn't end themselves. Either they should let time take them away, or allow themselves to, if something bad happens like an accident, or maybe, I don't want to say the worst, but something like that, natural ways or accidents is the way someone should die. Or maybe like saving some, if we're talking about an anime, a good way to die in anime is saving someone, not killing yourself. And Naruto is an anime that Naruto wouldn't really mind dying if he saved people. The Naruto that we all know, he wouldn't mind dying for like the village. He would give his own life up to save the village. But this Naruto doesn't care about the village, doesn't care about himself, doesn't care about the Hokage anymore, doesn't care about anyone. Like, this, I don't know who to ship with Naruto since he is going to leave the village, but I have plans for him. And Naruto did, since when he was still 4, he did save Hinata, and Hinata always admired him. And she didn't really know this because this was around like 9 p.m. and she wasn't out and about at 4 years old, 9 p.m. I'm pretty sure when I was 4, I'd be asleep by 7. So, Naruto is patrolled by Kakashi, and Naruto is starting to feel even worse because he feels like he's a waste of space, waste of the Hokage's help, the waste of an apartment for him. So what Naruto does is he cleans up his apartment and takes the stuff that he needs, like maybe a ramen, maybe two, and a bowl, and maybe some water bottles, and puts them all in a backpack, and just he knows the landlord, and he goes to him and says, I don't want the apartment anymore. Can you please not tell the Hokage? And the landlord kind of feels for Naruto, because he used to hate Naruto, but he used to not really hate like the villagers. He used to just kind of find Naruto annoying because of all the pranks he used to pull. But he has been seeing Naruto around these days for the past 2-3 months, even maybe 5, and he's seen that Naruto is completely different. He's changed, his mindset is changed, and the landlord's like, why Naruto? Isn't the Hokage helping you financially? And Naruto's like, no, not that. It's just that I think I am a waste of space. He was stuttering between his sentences, and tears did come to his eyes. And the landlord's like, no Naruto, you shouldn't leave your apartment. Where are you gonna go? You can't just live outside. What if you get cold? You're going to get ill. And Naruto's like, I'm sorry, here's the keys, I cleaned up the apartment, and runs off. And Kakashi did see Naruto with the backpack, and he was kind of confused. And then the landlord was shouting outside to Naruto. He's like, no, Naruto, don't. And Naruto is crying and running away, and Kakashi was confused, so he goes up to the landlord and says, what just happened? And the landlord was kind of confused, like, it's Naruto, he just gave me the keys to his apartment and he just ran off. And Kakashi was thinking of the worst, Naruto trying to leave the village or something, but Naruto wasn't thinking of this yet. He did picture it in his mind. Naruto is more wise because of all the things that he's been through. He did become a bit wiser in his choices, and he did try to imagine all the possible ways of him leaving and all the possible outcomes of him leaving, and none of them turned out good. And the only good outcome that he thought was good for himself is living around the village, so outside of anyone's sight, and just living in the forests around the village. And he just ran into the forest, and they were searching for Naruto. Kakashi did tell the Hokage. The Hokage put up a search team. They were going to find Naruto, but every time Naruto barely escaped, he changed position. And a night passed, and Naruto is in the forest, and he's thinking to himself, did he do the right choice? Was this what maybe the parents that he might have had back in the past wanted him to become? And he thinks of this and realizes maybe he was an orphan because his parents left him. And Naruto did have dreams about his parents, thinking that they were great heroes of the village, but now he just thinks that his parents left him because they thought he was a monster as well. And he was just crying, and it was really dark now, and Naruto's still like 6, so he is kind of scared of the dark, but he realizes that he has to get over it, since this Naruto's a bit wiser. I know if Naruto was wiser, he would actually not leave the village, but you'll understand why. And Naruto is eating his ramen pot, and he realizes maybe I should have bought more, but then he remembers that all the people hate him, and whenever he goes into a grocery shop or a restaurant, a small tavern where you can get food, he always gets hated on. The only place that no one really said anything to him as hateful was Ichiraku Ramen, and they were kind of more like a family to him than anyone else in the village. He did like the third Hokage, but he just thought that the third Hokage was having pity on him, and in his mind he's like, maybe the third Hokage hates me as well. There's no point of worrying him anymore and making him pay for my bills. I'm not going to have to rely on anyone, and Naruto is starting to be more independent, but he still has these suicidal thoughts until one day he is found a week later. Naruto's kind of starving and he couldn't really go out, and Kakashi found him because he was frustrated, and then he's like, wait, has anyone checked in the deepest bit of the forest, since Naruto was there, and he knows that most people are scared to go near the deepest bits of the forest because they thought that there was some kind of murder and it was haunted, and Kakashi didn't really believe in ghosts, so he's like, no man, why did no one check that? And he goes there and finds Naruto half like Naruto was knocked out. He was malnutrition. He's malnourished. He looks a bit. His skin is pulling onto his bones, and he's a bit more bony. The muscles that a 6-year-old would have are gone, and he realizes that Naruto, not only has he been feeling bad about himself, but he must have ate minimum amounts of food, just enough to keep himself alive in the past few months. And the change wasn't too drastic until now, because Naruto's he ate 2 ramen pots in the past week or so, and he realizes that Naruto needs to be brought to a hospital, and he rushes out to the hospital without even saying anything to the others. They see Naruto in his hands, but they're confused on what is going on, and they do follow Kakashi to the hospital, and Kakashi tells them to tell the third Hokage that he found Naruto, and they tell him, and the third Hokage arrives to the hospital to see all the disgusted looks on everyone's face by seeing Naruto in the hospital, and they're like, and he could hear the whispers of, why is this demon in this hospital? Couldn't he be in a different one? Why does he have to always be in the center of the attention? He doesn't deserve all this. He should have died. Why did you even heal him? Let's say Madoka or something. Why did you heal him? He should have died. You should have just poisoned him or something. And the nurse that healed him didn't hate anyone. She didn't have any ill feelings toward Naruto, and she's like, I became a nurse, I became a doctor not to kill people, to save them, no matter who it is. And the third Hokage overhears this, and he has a smile on his face, and realizes now everyone hates Naruto, even though it's a small percentage, less than 10% of the village doesn't hate him. Maybe not even 1%, to be honest. Maybe 2-3 people. Him, Kakashi, and maybe the nurse. Maybe 3 people, and the landlord, so forth. And then out of nowhere, Ichiraku and his daughter come in, and they say, "Is Naruto alright?" And this brings a bigger smile on the Hokage's face, and says, you guys have come to see Naruto as well? And they're like, yeah, we've been worried about him. He hasn't come to our shop in a while, and I've heard that he disappeared, he ran away, and and he's finally back. And then out of nowhere, the landlord came and said, "Where's Naruto?" And they all go to visit Naruto. Naruto does notice all the people around him. Well, not too many, just 4, 5. Kakashi, the Hokage, and the other 3, his landlord, and the Ichiraku ramen people. So the daughter and the father, and he slightly looks out. He doesn't want to open his whole eye because of the light, but he can see 5 people around him, and he realizes that they probably hate him as well. And then out of nowhere, a little girl comes in and says, "Is Naruto alright?" And that kind of startles Naruto, because he thought everyone hated him, and then he saw the little girl and realizes the girl that he saved years ago, or 2 years ago, from the bullies, and she thanked him. And he kind of wanted to smile, but all the feelings of regret of being alive are just getting to him, and he just doesn't do anything. He's pretty much emotionless. Naruto is apathetic, and he just fakes he's still sleeping, and everyone leaves, and the Hokage and Kakashi are talking. They're like, "I can't believe his sensei's son is turned out like this. And Kakashi kinda had a bit of resentment to himself and the villagers for never, because he himself didn't really like Naruto, but he didn't hate Naruto at the same time. And he's like, if I just was there for Naruto and protected him from all the looks of the villagers, maybe he wouldn't have turned out like this. And the third Hokage is like, Kakashi, don't worry about it. You didn't do anything. Naruto it's not because of you, Minato, me, or Naruto. It's because of the villagers' fear towards the Nine Tails, and that just breaks something in Naruto. It just breaks his heart to know that the Nine Tails is inside of him, and he wants to cry so bad, but he just doesn't. Like, he's starting to become apathetic towards, and he's not fully apathetic yet. He still has the feelings of sadness inside of him, but then he just drifts off into his mind, and then out of nowhere he's in front of a cage, and there is this big orange fox with a glaring eye looking at him, and Naruto's kind of he's not really scared because he doesn't feel anything. He's like, you must be the Nine Tails then. And he says it in a weak voice, and the Nine Tails like, if you're going to talk to me, at least talk to me in a manner that I can understand what you're saying. Speak louder, kid. And Naruto's like, oh, no need. And Naruto is about to walk away, and the Nine Tails like, who do you think you are, kid? Trying to kill yourself, trying to do all these things to yourself, and just still not resenting the villagers completely. You still have feelings towards them. Don't try to act tough. You're just a normal kid who doesn't have friends. And the Nine Tails is really just sad for Naruto, that he's sad because it's because of him Naruto is being like this, and he wants to make it up to Naruto and says, come here, boy. And Naruto's like, he kind of has tears in his eyes, and he's like, no. And the Naruto's like, Naruto Uzumaki. And Naruto's like, how do you know my name? And the Nine Tails like, don't be stupid, kid. I've been inside of you for 6 years now. Do you really think I wouldn't know my vessel's name? Come here now. And Naruto decides to go. He has tears in his eyes. He's trying to wipe it off. And the Nine Tails like, don't cry, kid. You just make me feel sad, even though I haven't been feeling this in centuries. And Naruto's like, you're feeling sad for me? And then the Nine Tails like, yes, because it's all because of me. All the villagers hate you, and because of me you have been through all this. And Naruto's like, it's fine. It's not like it matters at this point, and I don't believe it's your fault, since you didn't do anything in the past few years. You were just inside of me. They just hated me because of who I am. And the Nine Tails like, don't put yourself down, kid. I know the Nine Tails wouldn't be doing this, but let's just say seeing Naruto feeling all these feelings, and all Naruto's feelings do kind of convert into him, do kind of go into him as well, because he is inside of Naruto's mind. And remember, Naruto did change the Kurama over the 15 and 16 years because of his outgoing attitude and always being happy. And once he met Naruto, Naruto always had a smile on his face, and he kind of started changing. But now seeing Naruto, a kid who didn't do anything wrong to the ruthless villagers who just treat him like trash, and Naruto's like, so can I go now? And the Nine Tails is like, you're asleep, boy. There's nowhere to go. Once you wake up, you go away from here. And Naruto's like, so I just have to wake up. And Kurama is like, so Naruto, tell me this. Do you hate the villagers? And Naruto's like, he doesn't respond to this, and Kurama is like, so I'll take that as a yes. And Naruto nods, and Kuroma's like, you don't have to be in this village. You don't have to listen to them, right? And Naruto is like, I don't have the power to live on my own, and if I get out the village and the people in my own village hate me, imagine the people outside. And Kuroma's like, no kid, I'll help you. And Naruto, and then he says, Naruto Uzumaki, me and you, I can be your first ever friend. And Naruto really was, he couldn't really feel happiness at this point, but he was just smiling. And Kurama knew that Naruto couldn't feel anything, and except for pain and sadness. And he's like, Naruto, there's no need to smile when you're not feeling happy. And Naruto's like, I want to feel happy, but it just doesn't come in anymore. And Kurama's like, yes, I know, Naruto. And then Naruto asks the Naruto's, hey, you must have a name as well, right? Since I have one and you know mine, I should know yours since I'm your friend now. And the Kurama was surprised that even Naruto, after hearing that the Nine-Tails is his friend, would actually ask his name. And he's like, it's Kurama, with a smile in his face. And Naruto says, oh, hello, Kurama. And then Kurama puts out his hand and says, fist bump me, Naruto. Naruto says, okay. And in his mind, not out in the outside world, in his mind, he goes into KCM and he says, what is this power? And Kurama's like, this is a this is a bit of my strength, and that's not it. If you are able to let me out of this cage one day, you can have my full power and my full cooperation, and I can help you in anything you need. And Naruto's really happy about this and says thank you. And he wakes up in the middle of the night, and Kurama's like, Naruto, I can still talk to you, just saying. And Naruto's like, okay, Kurama. And he sees that the third Hokage is gone, and the Kakashi is gone as well, and he can hear someone outside just working, writing, because the desk and his room was really close to each other. And Naruto gets up from his bed, wears his normal clothes because they were in his room, and just walks out of the room. And the the nurse that was there was the nurse that was taking care of Naruto, and she's like, Naruto, you're awake. And Naruto just gives her a blank stare and just starts walking out. And she's like, no, Naruto, don't leave, you're not healed. And Naruto says, thank you for everything, I'm going now. He did have his backpack, just saying. And he just snatched his hand out of hers, and she says, no, Naruto. And Naruto just starts running towards the village gates. By this time they were about to close the village gates, and the nurse was following Naruto, and she was shouting, no, Naruto, don't go. And the two guards who did notice Naruto running, and out of nowhere Naruto gets a speed boost and just blitzes through past them, and they're like, no. And one of them is like, hey, go tell the first Hokage about this while I go chase Naruto. And he goes and chases Naruto, because they're not the two people there, they're not the type of guys to hate Naruto, because they don't really care. They're the laid back people, and they can't really let Naruto go because he is a leaf villager, and they cannot let Naruto out, especially because he has the Nine-Tails. Naruto is crying while going, and Kurama's like, don't worry, Naruto, I will help you from now on. Just keep going wherever you want. I'll be with you all the way. And Naruto keeps running until the I'll say he was a Chunin. I'm pretty sure they were Chunin. Whatever. I'll say Jonin. He couldn't catch up to him because of Kurama's speed boost. Naruto wasn't in KCM yet, because Kurama said, I'll just give you the speed boost that KCM, our chakra mode would give you, but not the full chakra mode, because if you show off that you got this power, they'll think that the night that I have possessed you. And Naruto's like, okay, Kurama, and he goes, and now Naruto arrives at a town, the town where Tsunade was in when she was gambling. And Naruto's like, whoa. And Naruto did have some savings in his little bag, but they weren't enough to buy anything. He had like 2-3 coins to buy maybe like 4 candy, and he did. And Kurama's like, you might as well just buy that candy since you want it. And Naruto did want it, but says, but then I can't buy any food. And Kurama's like, do you really think you can buy a let's say you want to buy a bowl of ramen, do you really think they're going to accept the money, the enough money, the money that you have, which is barely enough to get full candy? And Naruto's like, yeah, you're right, maybe I could eat them for breakfast tomorrow. And Kurama's like, eat one now, you haven't ate in a while, go on. And Naruto eats one now and says, I'll save this one for breakfast, this one for lunch, and this one for dinner. And Kurama's like, yeah, you're that's right, kid. And then Naruto eats it and is walking around the village. The village, no, the town didn't know who Naruto was, and they were all happy. And some gave Naruto a smile because it was just a random kid, a cute kid just walking around the village, all like a bit lost. And some were concerned. They did ask, "Where's your parents?" And Naruto's like, "My parents." And Kurama's like, don't give away your identity, Naruto. And Naruto's like, I don't have parents. I'm alone. And the guy and the woman that asked him, they were concerned about Naruto, and they're like, wait, did you ever go to an orphanage? And Naruto's like, no. And they understand that Naruto isn't a normal kid. He must have at least been in an orphanage if he doesn't have any parents. So they offer Naruto to some lunch, some dinner, because they did see Naruto was kind of way too skinny for a kid his age, and his hand was really bony because he was wearing a long shirt, a long sleeve shirt, because it is around October or November, because it was right after his birthday, like maybe a few weeks. And Naruto says thanks and says, I'll be going now. And they're like, are you sure? And he's like, thank you for all your help, I can go now. And they're like, wait, before you go, here, take this at least. And they gave Naruto, let's say they gave Naruto enough money for the next few months. Let's say they were rich or something. And Naruto says, I can't take this much money, it's a waste on me. And they're like, no, you can keep it. And then they say goodbye to each other, and they are concerned. They are gonna tell the let's say the chief there. And they do go and tell him, and the chief is kind of concerned of a blonde kid just walking around the town. And he doesn't recall a blonde kid without parents, blue eyes, whiskers, with a backpack, and let's say a blue shirt and orange trousers in this village. He's never seen someone like that, or someone ever wearing orange hair. Well, not as trousers, but he did see orange on, like a bit of orange on shirts. And he's like, I've never seen the kid, but I'm worried that he might not be here from here. And they're like, but the kid was alone, I don't think he could have come here alone. And then the chief really gets concerned, and then out of nowhere a leaf shinobi appears and says, hey chief, because the leaf shinobi knows the guy, and it is Kakashi did save the guy back in the days. I'll just say it's a backstory, random. And he's like, can I talk to you for a minute? And he realizes that that's Kakashi because of the voice. Is like, my old friend, yes. And Kakashi asks, did you see a kid with yellow hair, blue eyes, and whiskers? And then he points at the couple, and he says them two spotted him. They offered him a bowl of ramen. Let's say they went to a ramen shop and Naruto was enjoying it, and he's like, kind of go, and then he asks them to, and it's like, did you see where he went? And they told him everything, and he's like, thank you, and he went top speeds towards where Naruto was, and then Kurama can feel that and tells Naruto, you have to run from this town, go quick, and he gives a speed boost again, and Naruto blitzes past every single store, every single person he sees, and they're like, wait, that kid's faster than most shinobis I've seen. And some people are saying that, and Naruto is out near the wall of near the exit of the town, and he just blitzes through the two guards, and he's going, and then Kakashi follows him, and he is catching up to Naruto until Naruto decides to throw smoke bombs. And then, because he did have some smoke bombs, he used to think he was a ninja as a kid, and he did have them in case he needed them. And Naruto, with a sad look on his face, he just turns a different way, and he's heading through the forest. And Kakashi thinks Naruto just turned the other way, so he goes the other way, and Naruto goes, let's say Naruto goes to the right, and Kakashi goes to the left. And Naruto escapes, and he is near and in a few days he's near the border of the land of fire and the land of let's say waves, and he's going through there at top speeds without being spotted by anyone. He does get spotted by one person, just one person, and that is Zabuza. And Zabuza stops Naruto in his tracks and says, kid, you're pretty fast for your age. And Naruto's kind of scared, and Kurama's like, don't be scared, Naruto. If he tries to attack you, I'll protect you with my power. And Naruto's like, I trust you, Kurama. And and then Zabuza is like, you don't need to be scared of me. I just want to see your power. How about we have a little sparring session? And Naruto does spar with Zabuza, and Zabuza is impressed with that by Naruto's speed, but he's not impressed with his taijutsu. But Kurama does give him some boosts and buffs, and he's impressed that Naruto has this much strength, and says, how about I train you, kid? Look, I have an apprentice as well. His name is Haku. You two can become good friends by training. And Naruto does start training. The Leaf Village, a few weeks passed, and Naruto still hasn't been found, and he did tell Zabuza his real identity, and Zabuza was felt for the kid, even though Zabuza wasn't really the type of guy to feel sympathy. He did understand how Naruto felt, because him and Haku were outcasts in his village too, and he can relate to Naruto. And Naruto's like, well, now I'm here with you guys, and I'm liking it a bit more. Naruto's still apathetic. He doesn't feel anything anymore, but he is 7 now. A year passed, and the Leaf Village still hasn't found Naruto. Kakashi is completely utterly disappointed at himself, because it's because of him. He was meant to be guarding Naruto, even though he was in the hospital. But as soon as he went to do his business, let's just say he needed to do his business. I know a ninja shouldn't be doing this, but let's say he underestimated Naruto's recovery speed, and he just went to do his business in a public toilet, and Naruto escaped while he was still in the toilet. And as soon as he came out, he saw multiple Chunins going outside the village as search parties, and then one of them, guy, appears out of nowhere and says, Kakashi, didn't you hear the news? Naruto has escaped. Well, not escaped, Naruto has left the village. And Kakashi is out of his mind now, and he literally speed runs every single one of the Jonin and Chunin who went ahead of him, and he literally is like the closest town to and then he realizes that the closest town is the town that Naruto actually went to. And then he sees one of the Jonin guards, and he's like, where did Naruto go? And then he's like, he kept going straight, and then he turned left, and he realizes that's the route to the thing. And it's like, how did you lose Naruto? And then he's like, Naruto had some impressive speed. Even I think he was on par with you and Guy. And Kakashi is like, wait, are you being serious? And then the Jonin is like, there's no time for this, quickly go get Naruto. And Kakashi is like, you're right. And he goes, and they still failed. A year has passed. They can't tell anyone about Naruto's disappearance. They did tell Ichiraku Ramen, and well, because they demanded for Naruto what happened to him because he disappeared, and even the landlord demanded for this, and even the little girl demanded for explanations because she hasn't seen Naruto at all. And it's near when the academy is about to start, and she's concerned that Naruto used to always say, I want to become Hokage, and now he's nowhere to be seen. She doesn't see him around the forest that he used to go to train as a kid. And she's asking, then her Hokage is like, oh, he has been adopted by new parents and left for a different village. And he makes up this excuse, but then Hinata is smarter than this, and she is worried that they are lying to her because no one really liked Naruto. And while this is all happening, Naruto is training. His taijutsu is literally tuning level now. Haku is really strong, and Naruto 7, Haku, let's say Haku is 9, and Haku is like an older brother to Naruto, and Naruto is really happy to have like a father and an older brother. And he realizes that one day he will have to leave them because Kurama did say you can't stay near the village. And Naruto does tell them, and he says, would you guys want to come with me? And Zabuza was hesitant about this, but then Haku initiated himself, and he's like, yes, of course, Naruto, you're like a little brother to me, I would never leave you. And Zabuza's like, you are like a son to me, by looking away and rubbing underneath his nose, and he's like, you are like a son to me, so I will go with you and look after you. Because Zabuza has a soft spot for Haku and Naruto, but he doesn't really show it in training. He only shows it sometimes, and they understand that Zabuza is a prideful man, and they just laugh it off. And Zabuza's like, brats, are you laughing at me? And they're like, no, Zabuza, no, we're not. And Naruto's like, no. And they keep training. Naruto is really strong. He now has new clothes. He still wears his orange just to show that. No, I'll say he stopped wearing his orange because he wants to, if he ever gets found, he wants to show to his village that he is not the same Naruto that he was. He is, his apatheticism is gone now. I think that's the word, whatever. And because he now has like a little family, and the next year when Naruto should be starting the academy, they head off. And I'll say Naruto did learn how to use his wind release, water release, and lightning release, and Zabuza was really, really, really impressed by Naruto, and he's like, maybe this kid is just on par with Haku, who has ice release, wind release, and water release, and he knows that the ice release is a Kekkei, but he counts that as a chakra transformation. And Naruto is really happy that he gets to leave with his father, or new father. And then Kurama is happy for Naruto and says, Naruto, I guess you found a family. And Naruto's like, yes, Kurama. And then they know that Naruto is the Nine-Tails' vessel, or Jinchuriki, and they don't really care. And they say, Naruto, did you ever see the Nine-Tails? And Naruto's like, yeah, he's my friend. And they are completely utterly dumbfounded. And Naruto then goes KCM, and he shows that this is the form that Kurama has given to me once I became his friend. And he said that I can even have more power and his full collaboration if I let him out of the cage he's in. And they're like, never let the Nine-Tails out, you never know what he could do. And then Naruto's like, no, don't say that, look. And he touches both of them and brings them to his mind, well, mentally brings them to his mind, and says, look, this is the Nine-Tails, he's the one who helped me escape from the hell that I was in 2 years ago. And they understand, and Kurama smiles at them because he doesn't hate them. He does kind of has some. He doesn't hate them because they took in Naruto after what happened to him, and he's like, I guess you two are the ones who accepted Naruto. I'm really happy that Naruto has met you two. I have I have been watching Naruto his whole life, and he has never had someone to trust, and now you two have come to his life. If you ever try to betray Naruto, I'm telling you, I will come for you myself. And they're like, we will never betray Naruto. He's like a brother to us. Haku says he's a brother. He's like my younger brother, and Zabuza's like he's like my son to me. And he said it in a glare at the Nine Tails. He glared at the Nine Tails, and the Nine Tails like, you got spirit, guy. You got spirit, man. Well, not man. He says you got spirit, Zabuza. And Zabuza like, smiles, and because Zabuza can relate a bit to Kurama, because they both hate most people in the world except for the ones that they're close to, and Kurama does have a soft spot for his for Naruto's new family, and it's like, I will always protect these lot. And now they head off to the land of they want to move away from the land of waves to go to the, let's say, wait one sec, I'll say they head to the land of wind, Sunagakure. And I'm pretty sure you guys can understand where I'm going with this. So they do end up in the sand village, and they do enter as as new people, and they want to talk to the Kazekage about Naruto and how the village has treated him, because Naruto's like, I've heard, well, Kurama told all three of them about the story of the tail beasts and how they're not that bad, and people have tried to capture them, and there are people who are still trying to capture them for the power, and so on. And then Naruto's like, hey, dad, and he brought elder brother, he calls them dad and elder brother, and they're like, yes, Naruto. And he's like, how about we try to help all the Jinchurikis to make peace with their tail beast and have a peaceful life and not full of hatred like I did. And they understand where Naruto's coming from, because he doesn't want any other people, any other kids like him to go through that, and they want to actually fulfill Naruto's dream. And they're like, Naruto, your dream is our dream. We never really had anything in mind until you came in our lives, so we will do what you want. And then Kurama's like, well, we should leave the one tail for last, but I'd say he could be the and then he's like, well, then again, he could be the only one who wouldn't cooperate, so if we get him out of the way first, maybe we could have a better chance to convince the other ones, if we convince the most stubborn ones to join up with the one he hates the most, me. So now, and then they do head to the land of wind in cloaks, and Naruto's 8 years old, Haku's 10, Zabuza, I don't even know how old he is by now. Let me go check. Zabuza died at 26, so when Naruto was 12, and Naruto now is 8, 4 years before, so he's currently 22. And sorry guys, I had to stretch there. So they're currently heading to the land of waves, I mean not land of waves, the land of wind, Sunagakure, and that's where I'm going to end it off. They arrive at the sand village, and they enter as tourists, and then they want to go speak to the Kazekage, because they know he has a son. And Gaara doesn't really become crazy until he's like, I guess, wait one. Gaara did kill Yashamaru at the age of 6, so I guess he's crazy. They don't know about this, but they did see Gaara, and Gaara did look crazy, even though he was just an 8-year-old, and Naruto kinda had a bit of fear towards him, but he said hello with a smile and started waving at him like a kid would, trying to wave at his parents when he's going to school. And Gaara kind of is like, did that kid just wave at me? And then but then he rubbed it off, and that's where I'm gonna end it off. So I hope you all enjoyed. This is a different type of what if. It's kind of a darker what if, how Naruto would feel if he was hated by he. This is a what if that I'm taking a different turn on. Like, what if Naruto actually left the village, and what if Naruto actually let his hatred and towards the villagers become hatred towards himself, and thinking that the villagers were correct about him, he's a monster and he doesn't deserve to live. I know we still haven't even gone into the actual Naruto main storyline, but the first two parts are probably going to be me talking about Naruto trying to become a a better person and trying to help all the Jinchurikis, and he wants all the Jinchurikis to work together if they ever get in trouble against some people who want their tail beast. So that's where I'm gonna end it off. I hope you all enjoyed. This is a longer video. I know today I said I'm going to upload the wife Naruto Unlocked Wood Style. I did record it and I did finish it, but it is pretty short, so I don't know if you guys will like it. I might still upload it just as finale, but maybe not, whatever. I hope you all enjoyed. Please take care, stay safe, and peace.